Hi everyone, I'm Alex Budrias, and this is the Bannock and Tea Time podcast presented by First Nation Housing Professional Association, also known as FNHPA. Today I have Tabitha Eneas, who is a board member on FNHPA. Hi Tabitha.
Hi Alex.
Thank you so much for taking the time today.
Oh, it is so exciting to be here with you today.
I know that it's currently conference time, so it's pretty busy. So I really appreciate that you're taking the time to sit down with us to discuss a little bit about First Nation housing. You are a board member. We would like to know a little bit about your experience, what you've seen, a little bit about your stories, and just to pick your brain a little bit.
Absolutely. I'm so excited to be here. I'm
Perfect.
grateful for this opportunity.
Thank you. So just to start off, basic introduction, can you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and how you started in the world of First Nation housing?
Absolutely. So I come from a beautiful community known as Sinpington or Penticton, located in the southern area of British Columbia. My nation is Syilx Okanagan. Our language is Insilichin, and I am so proud to be from there. So I actually started working for my community 26 years ago. So I graduated from school, moved away, came back, and I actually started my career in the education department within my community, and then moved up into finance. And then, like many of us in the housing industry on reserve, housing just kind of fell into my lap because there was a gap in our staffing. And I was like, hey, I work in finance, I'm doing housing purchase orders, I'm involved in some of the meetings, I think I could do this. And from there, I became the housing director.
Wow.
And I worked in the housing department for 23 years.
Nice.
Yes.
Great. So just a little story. 2 weeks ago, Kelsey and I, who was the education administrator, we were at a conference at a booth, and people would come to our booth and ask us, what does FNHPA do? And when I explained to them we offer services to housing professionals, they would have question marks on their heads. And they'd say, what's a housing professional? And they would assume naturally it's construction. It's like, no, it's not construction. We have housing departments in the communities. So for our listeners who are new to the world of First Nation housing, can you give a quick explanation of what is a housing department? Who works in these departments?
That is an excellent question, Alex. And I do have to say that this is not a one answer fits all. So as we know, our communities across Canada are all unique. They all have different ways of doing things, different cultures, different traditions. But overall, working in the housing department is actually people management.
Okay.
So people management is also inclusive of ourselves, right? We have to learn how to be emotionally regulated. We have to learn how to speak to people at their different levels. We've got elders, we've got youth, we've got professionals, we've got just a variety of different people in our community. So we have to be able to learn how to speak to them in a way that they can understand. My personal mandate is that we approach it from a place of love, empathy. We leave ego at the door, and we just work together collaboratively. So in terms of who works in a housing department, that's going to vary different from nation to nation.
For sure.
But one of the things we have to be mindful of, Alex, is when we look at our housing department, sometimes we forget that those people are managing multi-million-dollar assets.
Huge.
And sometimes that's forgotten when we're looking at the people aspect of working in a housing department. So I think one of the advice that I would give communities is to be able to keep that in the back of your mind. This is a multi-million-dollar asset that your community depends on for personal health and wellness and being able to move their family forward in a good way. And we have to make sure that we are staffing our housing departments accordingly. So a lot of times we go across country and we hear, I'm the only person that works in my housing department. Not only am I doing housing, but I'm responsible for emergency management. I'm responsible for public works with one person. And
that's a lot to put on their shoulders.
It definitely is. And so just recognizing across Canada that our housing departments need multiple staff members to manage it. And that's going to look different for everybody.
For sure.
So sometimes you've got a housing manager, you've got a housing coordinator, you have a tenant relations officer, you could even have your own housing finance clerk.
Yeah.
We always want to make space for our youth, so it's very important to make sure to leave room for, you know, the up and coming that are going to take these positions over.
Yeah, our future.
Our future.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Nice, thank you. So Tabitha, you are a board member of FNHPA.
I'm so proud.
When did you become a board member? What year?
I became a board member in 2019.
Okay. Like the beginning?
I am not a founding board member.
Okay.
Yeah, so I want to be very clear, as that is a privilege left to other people that have, you know, paved the way and fought for this organization from the very beginning. But I did come in fairly new.
Okay,
so,
good. So, like, as a board member, in French, we have a term called un coup de cœur, which means something that we hold dearly to our hearts. You know, is there a project or a workshop or something that FNHPA offers that you hold dearly to your heart that makes you go, wow?
That is a loaded question because I want to say everything.
Can you narrow it down?
Everything about FNHPA is dear to my heart, and it gives me goosebumps, and I just have a permagrin when I talk about it.
Yeah.
When I'm in spaces like the FNHPA conference. So I will narrow it down to two things. One is going to be the staff and the board and the passion of showing up every day, working countless hours, you know, not counting the clock. It's the passion that our staff have to make this organization grow. As a board member, we couldn't do it without them. Like, we wouldn't be an organization without you guys. So that's first and foremost.
Thank you.
The second one that I think is super incredible is our regional expansion.
Yes.
So that was a part of our long-term strategic plan. And that was something that we didn't expect to happen for maybe, 10 years. And here we are, already moving into provinces, moving into regions, and being able to support boots on the ground in that way. So we started as a national organization. We will always be a national organization, but we recognize that all of our communities across Turtle Island have different needs. They have different experiences.
For sure.
And the regional expansion enables us to be able to provide better services to our communities. So I think that is a huge, huge accomplishment for us.
Great, thanks, good. So since I have you here, board member, can we get a little inside scoop of what's coming in the future? Can you give us a little bit of the tea?
A little bit of
Just
the
a bit,
tea.
yeah.
So what was announced at our annual conference was the Housing Pathways and Learning Assessment Tool.
Yes.
And this just blows my mind because many times when we have somebody that enters the world of on-reserve housing, the staff turnaround is under 2 years. So it's very rare you're going to see somebody that has longevity, like some of us do in the housing world. So this tool that FNHPA has developed and is offering out to communities, I think will help retain staff for the long term because it enables communities to be able to take an honest look at where they're at and where they want to go. And there's a 10-module questionnaire that after they go through that process, they will have an individualized professional development plan on what you need to do to be able to get there. And I think that is something that has been missing for many, many years because you get thrown into this world of, am I going up? Am I going down? Am I going sideways? And this creates a pathway that you can follow. So it helps ease some of the stress. So I think that is one of the things I'm most excited about, one of our new tools that are coming out. So
I'm looking forward.
Hoping our communities access that and
they
move forward.
They will.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. The fact that we're at a 3rd annual conference, what are we, year 6, year 5? People are using our resources, So I'm excited to see that one come to fruition too.
Absolutely.
Great.
I'm excited to be able to go in and delve into it myself and just kind of see what it looks like.
Nice. So, Tabitha, you're someone who has worked in her community for over 2 decades plus, let's say.
You're aging me, Alex. You're aging me.
Tabitha, you're someone who has worked in your community for over 26 years. Can you share an example of a collaboration or partnership that has positively impacted housing outcomes where you are from?
Absolutely. There has been many, many, many during my career. And I think I will share this. This actually came to fruition in my community after I had left. And I think it's amazing. And that was the development of a housing advisory council committee that consists of many departments within the band. So there's representation from the housing department, our capital and infrastructure, finance, social development, our health department.
Well, it's like everyone.
Everyone.
Okay.
There's representation from the council portfolio and as well as elder and youth representation.
Good.
So one of the things that I have learned, and this is something that I learned late in my career, because like I had mentioned, a lot of our housing departments are understaffed. So there's one person, two people trying to carry this big load, and you end up working in silos. And working in silos, particularly within the housing realm, it doesn't work. It doesn't work at all because housing is actually related to all of those different departments within our communities.
Yeah.
And so I really want to raise my hands to the Penticton Indian Band for the development of that housing advisory committee in that type of capacity because we need to involve everybody
For sure.
to be able to move our housing initiatives forward.
100%.
Right? We can't have mental health. We can't have family and child safety without adequate safe housing, and that's inclusive of all of the departments that we work with.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Wow. Staying on First Nation housing, Tabitha, I would like to know, what do you think is the biggest challenge that we are facing right now in this industry? And how can we overcome that hurdle?
That's a really, really big question. And I think that this may not specifically be related to housing industry, but it affects all of us across the board, across Turtle Island. And that is our people are in crisis. And our people are in crisis because mental health and addiction are taking over. We're losing our youth. We're losing our elders. We're losing our moms, our dads, our aunties, our sisters, our brothers, our uncles, our friends, our cousins. And so we have to be able to leave ego at the door, right? Penticton Indian Band created the Housing Advisory Committee that has all of those departments involved. That's a first step to addressing that. Because when people are in crisis, they can't take care of their home.
No.
They're not able to work. They're not able to pay their rent. They're not able to do repairs and maintenance. They're not able to keep their families safe.
Yeah.
And so we have to leave ego at the door. Like, that's so important. But on the other hand, we also have to be able to be prepared for really, really hard conversations when it comes to that.
And it's not everyone who's ready for it either.
It's not everybody that's ready for it. But one of the things that we like to say is the work that we do is for our seventh generation and it's for our children. And it's really important to keep in mind that our children don't have choices.
Nope.
We have to make those choices for them. And we have to do that in a good way, but it's going to be hard. But it's work that has to be done. So I don't have a solution, Alex. I think that there are a number of organizations and people that are starting those hard conversations, that are doing that good work in community. And I hope in maybe 5 years, we're going to see the tide turn. And our people are going to be coming back to themselves and becoming healthier and stronger. And that improves our housing world.
For sure, for sure. Well, you kind of touched upon my last question because I wanted to end on a lighter note. I wanted to know, what is your number one dream for FNHPA?
That is an easy one. I like this question. My dream for FNHPA, and it's a dream that's not only just for FNHPA, but for all of our communities across Canada, is that everybody knows about the services that we offer, and that there is 1, 2, 3, 10 certified First Nation housing professionals in every community. So that's my dream.
We're gonna get that.
We're gonna
we
get
are
there.
on
Absolutely.
route.
I believe it too.
Well, Tabitha, thank you so much for taking the time again. We are in the middle of the conference, so we are busy,
Yes.
but we appreciate very much having you here and talking to us. So let's finish off with some Bannock.
Let's do
Cheers! Oh, shit, we're restarting that. Cut. La, 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 la. Housing Professional Association.
Yep.
I just keep on talking. I know I did, but in my head, the French was like l'Association des professionnels de l'habitation des Premières Nations.
Like you could walk a runway, like in 5 minutes.
Strong. Ooh, she won a big award, huh?
That, and that.
How long that is in French, huh? So.